Welcome back to SI.com. I'm Lindsay Schnell here with Thamel, Brian Hamilton. We are talking about the defending champs, guys, Ohio State. We'll come back to the quarterback situation. Pete, you are the Ohio State expert. What are we all forgetting? What's getting lost in the conversation about them?
Well, I think when you look at Ohio State, Lindsay, the first thing you have to think of is they have the best roster in the country right now heading into the season. They have the success. They have the momentum. If you look back historically in the last decade, a lot of those programs, be it the great runs of USC or Alabama, I think Ohio State's biggest competition this year may be Ohio State itself. Like, I think internally they have to get over the malaise that is inherently and the troubles that have inherently gone with historically winning. It happened at Florida when Urban Meyer was there. So I think that's the first thing that you have to look at. And then positionally, there's a few places where the Buckeyes have some question marks. They have a very talented stable of receivers, but perhaps they don't have a dominant one like Devin Smith. Michael Thomas is obviously there. Curtis Samuel moved from running back there. That's one place where there's a lot of talent, but no one's quite sure how it's going to shake out.
Brian, you know the Big Ten really well. What do you think?
I look at what they're going to do without Michael Bennett. I mean, this was a guy, they have a great defensive line. I mean, they don't have any problems on the defensive end. I mean, Joey Bosa is going to be one of the best defenders in the country this year. You lose a guy like Michael Bennett in the middle of that defense, the way he can eat up space, so he can cause disruption in the middle, draw a couple blockers on the interior to free those guys on the ends up. Plus, that was his personality is one of the dominant personalities on the team, and you can't really quantify that except to say they won a national championship with him as one of the key leaders of a team. So how do you replace his performance on the field, but then how do you replace his presence off the field? I think that's one guy, but I think he's a big presence to make up for this year.
Another key piece that's going to be missing, Tom Herman. How is that going to change Ohio State?
Well, I think it'll change a lot, Lindsay. I think Tom had such a unique personality. He was able to connect with all three quarterbacks who are all very different personalities. So, and I think schematically he built a level of trust with Urban Meyer in terms of play calling. So Ed Warner is going to call the plays. He was the offensive line coach. He now becomes offensive coordinator. And then Tim Beck is the new quarterback coach. So there's going to be a lot of different mechanical dynamics that are just generally different.
Brian, I want to hear right now, who's going to be Ohio State's starting quarterback?
I think JT Barrett will win that job as long as he stays healthy. I mean, you have to remember that before Cardale Jones was a Heisman Trophy candidate, JT Barrett was a really legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate with a long body of work last season. I mean, we'd never have heard of Cardale Jones if JT Barrett stayed healthy. So I would look for JT Barrett to get the job. It'll be interesting to me with the dynamic of new coordinators, new assistants. Does that impact the winner? I mean, will there be a rapport? The coaches say, look, we know we can work with this guy more, and he's going to buy in more of what we want to do.